Hello, I'm Lamisila Pamela Ngubane, and this is the Entity Dynamics podcast. Entity Dynamics is a culture development consultancy where we believe that culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality. So, the title of this video is A Culture of Looking Beyond Potential. So, looking beyond potential means looking beyond what could be to actually what is. Okay. Now, many empaths really find it very much within their purpose for coming to this planet to encourage other people to fulfill their purpose for coming to this planet. Okay, to the point where they can actually find themselves fixating on the potential of people and what they could become if they just put in the necessary work. Okay, but unfortunately, in many situations, they end up very disappointed because they were actually in a relationship, whether it's a friend, a co-worker, a business partner, or a romantic relationship, or even like with family members that they've gotten close to, you know, of being alone in that relationship because they're actually sometimes, oftentimes, um, in a relationship with a figment of their imagination. They're in a relationship with who they think the person could become or who they think the person is because they assume that people will seek to fulfill their potential. And when people aren't fulfilling their potential, they assume that people simply need a few nudges in the right direction, some extra love, some extra support, and then those people will fulfill their potential. Now, if a person is not already fulfilling their potential when you come across their path and see this potential within them, it means they probably aren't seeing that potential that you see. Okay. And so that's where the disappointment will come from because you're thinking, obviously, this person wants to be the great thing that I see them having the potential to be, or at the very least, they want to work towards becoming that and reaping the rewards and the success that comes from the climb up the mountain of success, right? Um, and you because you are so determined that everyone is actually so wanting to be the best that they can be, wanting to fulfill their reason for coming to earth, you can't fathom that some people just aren't interested in being the best that they can be. Okay, so a culture of looking beyond potential really means getting real, honest with yourself, seeing what you see for what it is. If you see someone who's really cool and awesome, and you're like, oh my God, this person could be such a great leader. Look how articulate and smart and charismatic and charming they are. Look at what a good people person they are. They've got such good interpersonal skills. Everyone likes them. They're so friendly. They're so outgoing, whatever, right? But if that person is standing on street corners with their friends, talking pipe dreams and illusions that they are making other people believe they have the potential to fulfill, but they're not actually doing anything towards that, chances are they're not seeing the reality that you are seeing within themselves. You know what I mean? So you're seeing a leader. They are seeing themselves as someone who's able to bamboozle people into hero worshiping them, validating them, making their ego feel good, and leaving it at that, you know, or using their charm to, get women into bed and leaving it at that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really be people who look beyond potential and start looking at what people are actually doing. This will help us to form relationships with people who we can actually support, people we can actually build with, because we also want to fulfill our potential for coming, our potential in terms of why we came to this planet. You know what I'm saying? So we should really be very much focused on making bonds and partnerships with people who are actually working towards their goals, working towards fulfilling their potential. Okay, so and one of the reasons why it becomes difficult to see beyond potential is because, as they say in the book Dangerous Liaisons, by a French author whose name I can't remember, and I probably wouldn't even be able to pronounce it. He says illusions are by their nature sweet, okay, which means that illusions are delightful. They're delightful because they're just in your head. They're not happening in the real world, right? In the real world, illusions become like the wax on Icarus's wings when he got too close to the sun. You know, they do not stand the test of matter, of reality, of the harsh laws of physics that we live with in this world, right? So when you have thoughts in your head about who this person could be, they're not being tested against the reality that we live in. They're also not being tested really against the reality of who that person actually is. This is why I'm saying, like, if that person isn't already working towards those goals, isn't already trying to realize that potential that you see in them, chances are they're not interested in doing that. Okay. And that's the reality of that person. Okay. So if you're going to be like cheerleading someone on to realize their potential and they're not working on it already, they're going to just use you. They're going to see you as like, oh, yeah. I do want to be a great leader of the people. Why don't you support me by spending your money and energy on me and taking me to visit the people who I'm going to work with to be this social or political or economic leader that you see me being? No, that person just wants a free ride. They want attention. They want to be validated by you. They want you to stroke their ego and pour into them. And you'll just be pouring into a bottomless pit. You're not going to get anything in return. There's no return on investment when you pour into someone who does not see themselves the way you see them, or at the very least resonates in a practical way with how you see them, in terms of that they themselves see themselves as someone who could be something fantastic on this planet, you know. And another reason why illusions are by their nature sweet is that they're not tested against time. They're not having to overcome the obstacles presented by time, because in this material world in which we live, we don't just say abracadabra and you have a multi-billion-dollar company. You have to work towards it. These things take time. You don't say abracadabra and that's lemon seed is now a lemon tree giving you fruit tomorrow. A lemon seed takes like 4 weeks just to like sprout. Okay. And then it takes like another 4 years before it's giving you flowers, which will turn into lemons. Okay. These things take time. And so, a culture of seeing beyond potential is seeing the practicalities that are involved in that potential being realized. Okay. And then I'll just take it one step further before I wrap up. It's also about seeing beyond the words of our leaders in society. Because when someone runs an election campaign, for example, they're telling you, I have the potential to do this for you, to make your lives and the lives of the people of this country or this ward or this province better. So you're banking on someone's ability and determination to fulfill the potential that they present you with. Okay. So we also as people need to become more discerning, more responsible, and say, okay, politician, what is your track record so far? Okay, you're a new political party, but what work have you done with the communities around you? Or are you just a chancer? And unfortunately, there are a lot of chances. That's why we see the very sad state of service delivery in South Africa and in countries all over the world. So a culture of looking beyond potential means putting illusions to sleep, as sweet as they are, and getting practical about what needs to be done, getting practical about letting go of people and relationships that are just bottomless pits that are not going to give us a return on investment. Because, like I said in previous videos, it is not selfish to seek a return on investment for your time and your energy. Your time and your energy is precious. They're not just to be wasted. Do not cast your pearls before swine. You know what I'm saying? Give your time and energy to people who are actually already seeking to fulfill their potential. And then you'll see a return on investment. And then you will also have the support that you need to fulfill your potential for coming to planet Earth. Okay, Thank you and goodbye.